I remember it like it was yesterday. I felt like I got hit with a 1-2 combo from Mike Tyson, and he was bare knuckle. It almost cost me everything. Hi, my name's Steve Lowisz. I'm the founder and CEO of Qualigence International. Now, this was a Friday afternoon in the summer of 1991. It must have been somewhere around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, because I can still feel that hot Michigan sun that was beaming down on me through the western-facing office windows. I was sweating, feeling clammy, my heart was racing, and actually I felt like I was gonna pass out. But it wasn't because of the sun. See, I had just opened the scathing email from my boss who was peppering me with questions like, why did the last 4 hires underperform? Why do we still have so many open positions on the team? As I got about halfway through reading that email, here comes my admin. She strolls in and dumps the monthly sales report on my desk. It was one of the worst months we had had since I took over as the general sales manager. In fact, there were only 3 other months that even came close to being that bad, and they were the 3 previous months to this current one. If my boss, who was also the owner of the company, was on fire before, man, he was gonna be taking a bath in gasoline after he saw the 4th consecutive month of our sales in a literal free fall. Here I was, the general sales manager, responsible for bringing in sales and hiring the right people, and for 4 months straight, we missed targets that kept rising. Look, not only that, I was tasked with building a well-oiled team that was really supposed to take our company to, quote unquote, the next level. But instead, the people that I hired were underperforming and the ship was literally sinking. I spent most of my time putting out their fires and training them, only to have them leave or eventually get fired. This hybrid game of hand-holding and firefighting eventually caused me to pull away from my own to-do list. I had my own work to get done. And as a result, the sales tanked. I was working 60 hours a week, putting strain on my family. My family's livelihood was on the chopping block after 4 horrible months. After I looked at these sad numbers for a few more minutes, I had to shut down my computer. I grabbed my bag and I got out of that office as quickly as I could. But that night, I laid awake in bed for hours, bouncing between ideas of where do I send my resume to in case I got fired, and why my team consistently just didn't cut it. But then it hit me. Maybe it wasn't the people that were the problem. After all, they were really good folks. They just never were a good fit. This started to get me to think, maybe the problem is the source of where I'm getting these people from. See, during all of this, in the background of this mess happening at work, I was in this constant battle with the recruiting agencies and firms that I was working with. The candidates that they continue to put in front of me, they never really quite fit. But look, I had roles to fill, and I didn't have the time to hold the recruiter's hand to show them how to do their job when I had mine to do. So what did I do? I'd simply picked the best of the worst candidates with the hopes that the right training, they would churn into the candidates and the employees I needed them to be. And it didn't really matter which firm or agency I went through. The process, the quality of candidates, the results were always disappointing. And here's what I eventually realized. These agencies were only interested in getting a role filled. After all, that's how they got paid. They didn't truly care whether the candidate performed well. They got their commission. Of course, they claimed on their website that they were focused on quality, but the reality was their business model just didn't incentivize them to care about the quality or the right fit. They just wanted to fill a role and collect their commissions. After getting burned by firm after firm that all said that they were different, but really had the same headhunter model, I vowed never to pay a commission again. And I didn't. Look, after interviewing dozens of firms with a different approach and model, I finally received a call from a friend of mine who was in the same business. I shared my frustration and my actual disdain for all of the recruiters that I was working with when he referred me to a firm that actually was different. Finally, I found a partner that charged based on their time and the performance of their candidates, not just having a box checked. If their candidates flopped, so did their paycheck and vice versa. This little nuance made all the difference in the quality of the candidates that they directed my way. They had to earn my business every single day. I guess what they say is true. The saying is, small hinges swing big doors, little changes. Anyways, thanks to that particular partner, I was able to fill the key roles with high quality people who were able to step right in, perform at a high level, and actually help me revive the sales department. As fate would have it, things changed. And I was so impressed with this different firm that I eventually stepped away from my role as general sales manager and joined that firm in recruiting and business development. Within 12 months, I became partner and grew to the largest division with the highest client satisfaction and retention scores. But in order to change the way the search industry operated, I was compelled to take all those things that I had learned, plus some of my own secrets I developed along the way, and started my own firm. The next thing you know, I was on my own. I had a young family at home, and now I own this high-risk business where I had to produce big results in order to get paid. My palms still get sweaty thinking about that particular time in my life. But the fact that my family's livelihood depended on it, I had to focus on placing the right candidates with my client companies, and B, those candidates performing at an exceptionally high level. This meant that I had to create a bulletproof process that produced reliable and predictable results for my clients. There are 3 specific processes I needed to get as close to perfection as possible. So here's what I did. Number 1, I knew I needed to identify the most qualified candidates for my clients. So I made the investment and built the largest dedicated research organization in the country. I gave them the tools that they needed, and they took that and created the processes and methodologies that nobody else had and nobody else has. We were able to micro-target potential candidates that no one else could find. But from there, I knew it wasn't enough to know just who these people are. Number 2, I needed a powerful system and a powerful strategy to reach out, engage these candidates, and get them convinced to talk. And with the guidance of 2 modern-day masters of communication and psychology, names you know, Daniel Pink and Colleen Stanley, I created what's now known as candidate-focused recruiting to contact, engage, and actually convert these prospects to qualified and interested candidates. And here we are, years later, and it's still the reason we have incredible candidate conversion rates. Now, getting an interview with them isn't enough. We had to go further. So number 3, I needed a rock-solid system to assess whether or not these candidates were truly going to be the right fit for my client, and if my client was the right fit for them. Something that went much deeper than the typical questions recruiters ask. And I had to make sure that my clients' offer letters were signed over the competitors' offer letters, even if the competitors were offering more money. So, with the same guidance from those 2 modern masters of communication and psychology, I created the results-based interviewing process. This accounts for and measures the 3 key components you have to know about every candidate: their head, their heart, and their capacity. But thanks to this system and the training protocols we have around it, our candidates perform better and last longer. So now that all 3 of these processes are dialed in and nearly bulletproof, we're able to place high-quality candidates that actually perform at a high level and stick around inside our clients' companies for years. After more than 2 decades of constantly refining and optimizing everything we do to make our clients' lives easier, one thing has become apparent to me and my entire team. Whether we're working with Bank of America, Google, Facebook, or some small startup, our process works because from start to finish, it's actually focused on people, not just checking boxes. It simply comes down to finding the right people for the right role at the right time and for the right reasons based on asking the right questions. And as a result, offer letters get signed, roles get filled, teams produce, and companies increase their profits. Everyone goes home with a smile on their face.